George here. This is Ray, owner of Scaped Nature. Long-term viewers will recognise Ray. Today I've been filming all day in Scaped Nature. It's looking amazing, and the purpose of this video is basically to have a chat with Ray and about Scaped Nature, where it's been, how far it's come in 18 months. Just a general chat, and hopefully the audience will find it interesting. We'll overlay some of the video I took today of the store because it looks amazing. It's amazing scapes in there.
Thank you.
And yeah, really grateful to have the opportunity to be here today. So thanks.
Thank you. No, I mean, it's great. It's like after lockdown and everything, it's actually nice to have the chance to get together again and to start sort of living a bit more normal.
Yeah, I mean,
back into things.
This is the first time I've been at any distance from my home, and so meeting you and spending a day in the store is the it's been weird because I've literally lived with Emma, you know, my wife, and the boys, and we have Florence every other weekend, my daughter. So, and that's been like so structured and routine. To actually come away from the home environment for a day, it's been really refreshing. It's
funny how normal that whole sort of lockdown experience became, and then how quickly it started to feel sort of normal.
Yeah, I think we adapted as a family quite quickly.
Yeah.
The first sort of week or so, I was a bit anxious, and you know, what's this going to mean for the world and health and business, and then you just adapt, don't you? And I'm very lucky to be able to work from home for the nature of the internet and cloud.
It's let people continue doing a lot of the things,
and thank God for the internet, because we would be screwed otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to say the same as well. I mean, whenever we actually decided to close the shop about a week before the sort of instructions went out for lockdown. But at that time, I mean, we really didn't know what we were looking at. No. You know, what would that mean? Would that be the end of business for what sort of a period? You know, there were an awful lot of question marks, and the future looked really uncertain.
Yeah, of course.
But I've got to say, you know, a huge thanks to everybody that shopped with us over the last few months. But
online, obviously.
Online, through the website, it actually kept us really busy. You know, it was a pleasant surprise, but it was a huge surprise. You know, just how busy it actually kept us.
Yeah, I think the aquatic industry hasn't been so bad as maybe people might have predicted, because people are spending more time at home with their aquariums and enjoying them, and now a lot of businesses doing online. You know, a lot of businesses that weren't doing online have been forced to do online, and that's probably a good thing.
I think, I think a lot of companies will come out a lot stronger.
It's quite a stretch them, isn't it? And you know, I think a lot of people and businesses have you know, they stay steady in a comfort zone, and it's not until the environment changes so drastically they have to adapt.
Absolutely.
And you adapt or die, basically, and that's what's been happening. So, but yeah, we're rambling, but yeah, grateful to have my first kind of outside the farmer household in a beautiful store. And so it's been 18 months now
since we opened. That's right, we opened in January 2019, so we're 1.5.
That's great.
Big 1.5.
And that in general, how's it been?
I mean, it's been a huge sort of learning curve for us. I think, you know, we've sort of grown quite a lot over that time in what we do. Learned a lot just as people, and got into different things. Almost found new little hobbies. I didn't, you know, never really made terrariums and things before. That was always something Jill did. Now I make lots of terrariums as well. And Jill's really sort of pushed the moss art side of it, and you know, not just doing small sort of framed pieces, but doing whole sort of walls and things like that for some of the local businesses and stuff.
And I will interject there, because I interviewed Jill today, so there will be a separate video on moss art dedicated to the moss art, because I think it's such a fascinating concept, because I won't spoil the video, but basically if you don't know what moss art is, it's framed moss. And it's virtually maintenance free. The moss repels dust. You only have to dust the frames. Relatively inexpensive compared to a high-end Aquascape. And you're still getting that connection with nature. You're still getting that slice of nature in the home environment or the office environment. And you know, there's been studies that suggest the colour green and having plants, etc., in your
It's good for you.
It's good for you. It's good for humans.
Yeah, absolutely.
A mini equivalent of forest bathing kind of thing. So
I think it's just another one of those parts of the whole sort of bringing nature indoors. You know, making your indoor environment more sort of a closer connection with the natural world.
Yeah,
you know, it's just a way of sort of.
And I guess that's the whole kind of concept behind your store, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bringing nature indoors.
Yeah.
And the store is kind of split quite in terms of like terrarium and aquarium. So I guess you're kind of aquarium based.
Yeah.
But you're dabbling with terrariums. And Jill is much more.
She's mostly working on the moss art.
On the moss art,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, moss art. It's probably it's 70% of what she would do.
Okay.
And then she does some terrarium work, making sort of pieces to sell in the store as well. But the vast majority of the stuff is actually it's the moss art.
Oh, that's cool. And I have to give you a public thanks for my wedding present.
It was a bit delayed to get there.
Yeah, but it was worth the wait.
By several months. But we did get there.
It takes pride of place. You open our front door to our home, and then it's there looking at you as soon as you walk in the hallway. So we love it. It's left the combination of like this like maiden
hair fern.
And then there's some bits of words glued in.
And a lot of the twisted sort of hazel.
Yeah, that's it. And there must be 3 or 4 types of moss in there.
Yeah.
And all the different textures. It just looks great. Love it. Obviously been to the store a few times. Obviously not in the last few months. But I have to say, you kind of transformed the Aquascapes quite considerably. And you've added some new ones. So the first one that springs to
changed. Time.
Yeah. I mean, the first one that springs to mind is the Dennerle Nano Cube.
That one hasn't really changed apart from
30 litre
growing.
Yeah. I posted an Instagram photo this morning. Most people are so impressed by the Buca growth on it. It's just so beautiful. It's non-CO2.
That's right.
What lighting?
So it's got an ONF flat nano on it now.
Yeah.
And that's probably been for about the last 6 months.
And did you see improved growth from that?
It did actually. Yeah.
Because what was it before? The Aquiel?
We had a LED, the Aquiel LED.
Yeah, that's only 6 watts, isn't it?
Yeah, 6 watts light plug. And I've got to say, I mean, it was
good.
Yeah. You know, it was good for the tank. When we put the flat nano onto it though, the colour of the boost changed. The boost really started to,
that's interesting.
It really took on a new lease of life.
Yeah.
But the colour rendition in the tank as well.
Yeah.
So it was kind
because I think they're RGB, aren't they? But they're mixed into the same diode, so you get this super rich.
So it transformed it a bit. I would have always said the lady was doing a great job, but it's one of those ones
unless you try something new, you don't realise.
Put something different on. It's kind of that's the difference. It's obviously that the ONF flat nano is 3 times the price, but you can see why it's 3 times the price. So it's one of those ones.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I had a similar experience with the Chihiros that I put on, I think, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
The RGB Vivid 2s.
Yeah.
And the growth. I mean, they're more powerful. So just that extra light, extra PAR, the light that the plants can use, is higher. So of course they're going to grow quicker.
They get compared a lot to the solar RGB.
Yeah, because they're a kind of similar form, in terms of their LED array, and they've got the RGBs and the same chip.
Yeah.
So it's like super dense. There's no white LEDs. So it's literally just the red, green, and blue. It's all mixed together.
So it's very similar design principles in the lighting.
Yeah, in terms of in terms of electronics, the actual design of the unit is quite different. I have to say, the Chihiros has fans, which can, if you've got a quiet ambient noise, you can hear them. But my house has got loads of fish tanks in it, so it's kind of
gets drowned out.
Yeah, but no, they're really good, and I will do an update video on that because the growth has been incredible. The extra growth I've got. It's interesting. So we talked about the Dennerle. You put a new ADA 60p.
That's right. I mean, it's not that new anymore.
No.
We planted that up along with it was Ellen Mary Gardening. And we had a sort of an event that she organises. They came along for the evening. People interested in gardening, not so much aquascaping, but they came along to see what aquascaping was all about.
Yeah, that's great.
The 60p. But ADA was kind of new to me a year ago. I'd always known of it, but didn't really have a lot of ADA products.
No.
And it was kind of just getting into that, and yeah, I've got to say, I mean, I've really enjoyed using the products there and sort of putting them.
Because you've got them on the proper shelf, the maintenance stand. Haven't you?
Yeah, it's from the ADA wooden cabinets.
Yeah, and then you've got the maintenance
jet filter.
Yeah,
yeah, we sort of treated myself.
Is it everything ADA then?
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing that's not, and it's because of the surface skimmer issue, it's still the glass pipework.
Oh, okay.
It did have the ADA.
The upper.
No, in the 60p it just feels it's going to take up too much room, okay. And especially with the backlight.
Yeah.
It just feels it would spoil the view to put a piece of equipment in there.
Yeah.
So that's the only piece that's not, is that.
A top tip for avoiding surface scum is have plants growing out the top.
Yeah.
Hardscape coming out the top, and loads of shrimp.
Gathers around.
And what happens is the scum kind of collects on the wood or the plants and doesn't kind of spoil the surface. And the shrimp will actually eat the biofilm from the surface because they can sit themselves on the wood or the plants and they're literally just great.
Yeah.
And on my 1200 I got rid of my surface skimmer completely.
It's funny, do you know that's probably what's happening with that little Dennerle Nano Cube?
Yeah.
Because it's got the hardscaping plants.
Yeah.
They're sort of coming out of the top.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been scaping for years and it's just something that
I've never thought about it.
Realised, and I was chatting with Yuri's on my Tropical live stream for Instagram about it, and I'm pretty convinced. Now I think back,
that's how it works,
all the tanks that never had surface scum had emergent hardscape and plants and
it
those
makes
shrimp.
sense when you think about it.
Yeah, so top tip for the guys there.
Top tip.
So other scapes, we've got the Aquascaper 1200, which I originally scaped.
That's right, yeah.
Just before you opened, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was December 2018.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and that's when we did the 900, which is going to change.
Yeah.
We did 4 tanks at the same time,
didn't we? Yeah. And you've got that Iwagumi in the Aquascaper 600.
That's right, which started as an Iwagumi, then it went to another tank. So it's actually its third sort of iteration, if you like, or third scape over there.
And then there's a kind of a lower energy Bucophilundra dominant Aquascaper 600.
Another vast piece of Bucophilundra.
Yeah, you're the best Bucophilundra grower I've ever seen. Yeah. Is that Bucophilundra red in there?
Mostly, yeah. If you remember, we're actually taking that from Dara's tank, taking it up to the shop. It had that beautiful Anubias, but unfortunately it just absolutely melted within a couple of days of being in a high energy setup. Yeah. It had been very low tech, low energy, no CO2, low light, put it in with stronger light, CO2, and it was dead.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good point for the audience, in that submersed plants that are adapted to grow underwater are actually really sensitive to a big change in water parameters or technical specification like extra light, etc. And I think this is a really important point, and I think some people just assume that if it's been grown underwater in one tank, then it's going to grow because it's already adapted to grow underwater.
Yeah, I thought it would have been absolutely fine. I thought it would have loved more light, more CO2. And it was the opposite. Didn't, did it? No,
and I think this is the case for hydroponic plants.
Yeah.
That they do have advantages and that they can adapt.
Yeah.
So I'll buy a fresh pot of Tropical Anubias that's been grown in the greenhouses out of water hydroponically. I can put it in a low energy tank and it'll adapt and grow, or I could put it straight in a high energy tank and it'll adapt and grow. You can't transfer it from a low energy tank into a high energy tank.
Yeah, that's right. It's already gone through the sort of process of adapting to those particular conditions, and I guess when you change those conditions so rapidly in a big way,
exactly.
It's just too much.
And I think that one of the biggest kind of sufferers from this is cryptocorynes, when you get the crypt melt.
Yeah.
So any kind of minor change can trigger a massive crypt melt. And I had it when I changed from my Kessels to my Twin Star.
And that's what happened with them?
Yeah. Wow. I'm pretty sure that was the culprit. Yeah. But crypt melt is fine because they'll die back and because it's got a healthy root stock, it'll just shoot. But Anubias is such a slow grower, and I think it's a bit more sensitive to that kind of thing. You've also got, I noticed, a beautiful shallow tank as you walk in.
Yeah, it's that's an ADA60F.
Yeah, it's got a load of hygrophila pillitifida come out the top.
That's right, yeah, that's newly sort of planted.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the tank's actually been going again, that's since sort of spring last year, so it's probably just over a year. Some of the plants like the hygrophila pillitifida has just been added into it again recently. It's just got a bit of a sort of a tidy up. But that's got no CO2 running in it, no heater, it's all very low equipment. The only thing is that it's under a light that's attached to the unit that it's sitting under.
Oh, okay.
It just has a surface skimmer.
Yeah.
I do like tanks that have very little sort of equipment
associated
with them.
Well, just letting nature take its course. I mean, this is a great example, isn't it? No filter. Although the plants are doing the filtering, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you've just got a few white cloud mountain minnows, a few cherry shrimp. This is interesting. These are quite popular, aren't they?
That's right. So that's a biosphere. But yeah, they're a nice little sort of a terrarium.
Built-in LED, obviously. And is that intensity or colour spectrum?
So you've got colour spectrum and intensity.
That's cool.
And then it's got a little sort of movable air vents in it as well.
Oh wow! I noticed you've got a bigger version in the store, and it's got the remote control.
Yeah, that's right. That's actually made by someone. It was a customer that came into the shop and had seen these.
And he made it?
Yeah, he designed his own, so it's a prototype basically.
Oh wow.
John.
Is he going to be...
So yeah, no, he's still, we were talking about it and he showed me what he'd come up with and said, yeah, I'll take one of those and we'll, plant it up and take it into the store and see how that works.
Yeah.
And it seems brilliant, yeah, it's lovely. It's like...
And is it competitive
price-wise? Yeah, I mean, it's in the same sort of price range as the biospheres.
Yeah.
Not that much difference,
okay.
But it's remote control. Made in, it's made in the UK, made locally, which has always got a nice thing to it. The top of it's actually, he's made all of the sort of parts himself to it. Got it a couple of weeks ago, got it planted up yesterday, so that's in the store now as well.
No, that's great. I love it. And then you've got, what's just a random terrarium there?
So that's one, actually that's something Jill does, sort of wabi kusa style, planting on rocks.
Is it Kokodama?
No, Kokodama is the plant. Well, I guess it's somewhere in between the two.
Okay.
It's basically using a piece of lava rock, set in a bowl of water,
nice.
And moss with plants, basically ferns, lily, just tied onto it, and so it basically takes the water up through its roots that way.
Wow. Does it need misting?
I do mist it.
Yeah.
Because I think they really like the sort of humidity and the benefit from it, but you can leave it. It's not essential to keep misting.
Well, and are you misting with anything special?
No, we just use rainwater from a water butt out in the garden.
Oh wow! So no nutrients.
No, I do use the wabi kusa mist.
Oh okay.
Sort of use that just across all of the
random
plants.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a way of giving them some.
And you got this cute little, this reindeer moss?
Yeah, again, so, moss art, usually when we say moss art with Jill, it's the frame stuff. Yeah, so it's frame. But she also does little miniatures. So this is just a little sort of a woodland stream scene, which is done in the dome.
Yeah.
And yeah, she makes lots of those around Christmas. They were really popular. A lot of them were with little Lego figures and stuff. And then, she did a Star Wars series for the last Star Wars movie coming out.
Right.
And sometimes, we get a little special request for somebody that wants to give it as a gift, a fisherman or a mountain.
I think anything that introduces people to this concept of bringing nature home, indoors, connecting with nature. Even if it's like a stepping stone, isn't it? So
totally.
They start off with something like that, which costs, I don't know, £20?
Yeah, something like
$30, whatever. And then they might go to something like this, and then eventually they might get sucked into the aquascaping hobby.
Yeah, very often. And one of the things something that we did a lot of over the past, since we opened up Scaped Nature, and we probably started them a few months after we'd opened the shop up, were workshops. So Jill would do terrarium workshops, and sometimes she would do sort of wabi kusa style workshops and planting on rocks. And I did aquascaper workshops, and they were really, they were a really good way of people getting into the hobby.
Yeah.
And they were really popular. They were always booked up.
Yeah.
You know, and we'd have half a dozen people coming along to set up a Dennerle Nano Cube, either a 20 litre or a 30 litre.
So they did set one up each?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
and
okay.
you take it home with you at the end of it.
Right.
It's not filled with water.
No.
But you basically, you know, we just open up a bag of soil, different sort of sands and things like that. Had all the hardscape there, and we'd just spend sort of about 2-3 hours.
And their ticket entry would obviously cover the cost of it.
Yeah, that's right. It was all just a bundle basically.
Yeah,
just give them a spray of water, put cellophane over the top, and then take them home with them.
Yeah.
So they were really popular.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, with the lockdown, that was the first thing to go.
I think the workshops were great. I love doing workshops, but I love that idea of people setting up ones themselves rather than just watching someone do it, because the best way to learn is to do it yourself. Absolutely. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
And it can demystify it. You know, it can be intimidating to people when they, you know, you're looking at an aquascape, you're looking at a tank, it's got equipment, it's got, kind of like, I just don't know where to start.
Super complicated.
It looks super complicated until you've sat down and spent a couple of hours actually doing it, and then it's not that complicated.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be complicated, like you say. We can start off with something like this, and then I mean, this isn't even complicated, is it? There's no filter.
That's it.
You know, when people learn the principles of aquascaping, you know, start off with a strong hardscape. Think about your foreground, midground, background, epiphytes. Yeah.
And don't be afraid to play with it, you know, and change things. And, you know, and even if it gets a bit shabby, if you've let it go for a while, give it a clean up, you know, add some new plants, take out things that weren't working, and so you can bring it back again into a different sort of form.
Exactly. I've been really encouraging people to use lockdown as an opportunity to rescape, and I don't even have to spend any money. You can take all the plants out, all the hardscape out,
absolutely.
You know, cut off the healthiest bits, replant them, rearrange your hardscape, put maybe a few root capsules in or something to you know, add a bit of nutrients, but you don't have to spend much money to rescape stuff.
I think there are going to be some absolutely wonderful scapes out there from lockdown as a result of it. I don't know if there are any sort of silver linings to these things.
No, I think you're right.
We've had lots of people have sent us photos of the things that they've actually set up. You know, and a lot of people have been buying hardscape, buying new tanks, doing things. You know, and actually, you know, it's really nice to think that
something good's come out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, and that there was something that Aquascape actually gave them a sort of a bit of a focus and something to enjoy at home. Yeah, absolutely. You know, even through sort of a tough time. I
have to say, from my own personal perspective, I've never maintained my tank so much.
Yeah.
And they've thrived. You know, I'm such a big fan of water changes now. You know, I'm doing like 3 water changes on the Aquascaper 1200 a week. Yeah. Just because I've got the time. I'm at home, I'm looking at it, it's by my desk.
Yeah.
And you know, that was a deliberate move, because out of sight, out of mind. It's classic, isn't it? And you know, but because I'm looking at it, or I probably see it 50 times a day, because I'm constantly like glancing around. Yeah. You know, and it's just all about not just the big maintenance sessions, but just micro maintenance. You know, just seeing a leaf that needs trimming.
Absolutely.
Or just get your hand in there, take that
just
out.
Just because you're walking past it.
Yeah, and you know, you could do like literally, you know, 20-30 little bits of maintenance in a day. Yeah. And they all add up. And they make a big difference, and that combined with the big water changes and just being, you know, just being mindful of the aquascape and how it looks, and you know, you just get more in tune with it, and for sure. It's great. I really love. I say really love lockdown, but it's had its benefits.
Yeah, I mean our home sort of stuff has been neglected a bit, just because there's so much to look after at the shop. Yeah. Because you know you're working all the time with that. You come home, to do another tank right now. I'm not going to do another water change or whatever. Yeah. But I think, you know, because of it, that looks a lot better. The Bioware Bear looks a lot better. Dara's tank got redone. You know, and it's kind of really enjoying them again at home, which is a nice thing. Yeah, it is. Good. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks for having me again. And thank you. It's it's great to have you here, mate. And I hope the viewers got some value out of that. Just a bit of a chat about Scaped Nature. If you are in the area, Norwich, come and visit. You're opening soon? Yeah, that's right. So we're open again from next week, which will be the 4th of July, or 2nd of July. It's the Thursday next week. Okay. By appointment. Just want to keep ourselves safe, customers safe. Yeah. I actually think it might be quite nice just to have that one-on-one sort of half hour with people. Yeah. So, you know, hopefully that'll work for customers too. A little bit of history actually. We worked
behind the scenes before you opened.
We announced the setup of Scaped Nature the first time we said it in public. Was in a video with you at this table.
Yeah, there you go. So it's great to see the progression that you guys have had, and pleasure to witness it and see the beautiful store and all the beautiful scapes.
In fact, it was July 2018 was the first time you came along here and started working together on Scaped Nature. So it's pretty much 2 years.
Yeah, and that's my passion, is helping out smaller independent retailers. Getting that word of aquascaping spread. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
That means a lot.